House Bill 312, an act relating to financial institutions. Representative Rowland.
Gentleman from McCracken.
Mr. Speaker, I yield to the gentleman from Monroe 21 for explanation of the bill and motion thereon.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Monroe for explanation of the bill and motion thereon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the body, House Bill 312 attempts to deal with Kentucky's Open Records Act. This is not a new topic. It's a topic that the gentleman from Todd has worked on for multiple sessions, having introduced bills in the past, working closely with the Kentucky Press Association to get agreed upon language. They were actually in my office just 2 days ago, and when we presented this bill in committee, we provided a letter from the Kentucky Press Association saying that they do not have opposition to the bill as drafted. House Bill 312 addresses various provisions of Kentucky Open Records Act. The changes proposed by this bill would help public agencies and prioritize requests for Kentucky citizens, businesses, and media agencies. Unfortunately, many of our public record custodians are inundated with out-of-state requests from groups and people who are fishing for anything that they think they can sell or repurpose. Our public agencies should be open and transparent, but it is important that we have guardrails in place to ensure Kentucky Open Records Act is not abused. The bill impacts requests made to public agencies and those filed with the LRC. The bill has a broad definition of who is a resident. It does not say citizen, it says resident. A resident is an individual residing in the Commonwealth, a domestic business entity with a location in the Commonwealth, a foreign business entity registered with the Secretary of State, a news-gathering organization that has a location in Kentucky or is affiliated with another news-gathering organization that has a location in the Commonwealth. House Bill 312 also allows open records requests to be submitted through email. Some records will be excluded from public access. Those would include client and case files maintained by the Department of Public Advocacy or any person or entity contracting with the department to represent someone, or any public record prohibited from disclosure by federal or state law. Additionally, the bill attempts to stop people involved in this civil discovery process from using an open records request as a way to bypass the judicial system. House Bill 312 requires the Attorney General to create a standardized records request form that would be made available to the public. Public agencies will have to display this in a prominent location accessible to the public, a copy of the rules and regulations pertaining to public records, the mailing address, email address, phone number, and the official records custodian, and the Attorney General's request form. Section 6 of the bill restores the constitutional separation of powers by making it clear that ultimate decisions and appeals related to records in the possession of the legislative branch will be made by the full Legislative Research Commission by removing the jurisdiction of the Franklin Circuit Court to review denials for legislative branch records. The legislation also makes clear which legislative records are open for review and maintains the confidentiality of an individual legislator's communications with constituents, legislative staff, and the bill drafters. Again, the Kentucky Press Association has worked with, mainly with the gentleman from Todd. Did visit with me 2 days ago. They are not opposing any changes in the bill, and they are neutral on it. If there are any questions, I'll be glad to attempt to answer those. If not, I would move. I need to report House Committee Substitute 1, Mr. Speaker.
Clerk, please report.
House Committee Substitute 1 to House Bill 312.
Gentleman from Monroe.
Everything I just explained was House Committee Substitute 1. If there are no questions, I would move adoption of House Committee Substitute 1.
Motion is for the adoption of House Committee Substitute 1. Is there any discussion? Gentleman from McCracken.
Mr. Speaker, since technically House Committee Substitute 1 was not even moved to be reported, I think the gentleman from Monroe needs to explain all that again, because I thought we were voting on House Bill 3 or discussing 312 as drafted.
Gentleman from Monroe.
He can watch it again on KT, Mr. Speaker.
Motion is for the adoption of House Committee Substitute 1. Is there any discussion? Gentleman from Kenton. All in favor signify by voting aye. All opposed, nay. House Committee Substitute 1 is adopted. Gentleman from Monroe.
Again, Mr. Speaker, if there are any questions, we'll be glad to attempt to address those. May have to yield to the gentleman from Todd for some, if they're very specific. And I would move passage of House Bill 312 as amended by House Committee Substitute 1.